Welcome back. Well, I've never done a mukbang before, but in the interest of trying to steal some of Nikocado Avocado's fans, that's what we're doing today. Welcome to the mukbang. If this isn't your thing, get the hell out of here. Hey everyone, it's Editor Sawdust here. I just wanted to let you guys know that if eating disorders or bulimia are triggering topics of discussion for you, you should probably skip this video. That's all. Ugh. You know, in the last video I made a joke about ruining my makeup with the thing that I was drinking, but this is gonna be the real makeup ruiner right here, I can tell. There's only one right way to eat Kraft mac and cheese, and that's with diced tomatoes and a little bit of pepper. Anything else? Unacceptable. I won't be hearing any arguments. I don't know if you can conceptualize where I'm sitting right now, but this is the floor of the recycled tiny house that I promised I would make. All these beams, all this lumber came from a shed that has been storing them for 100 years, 70 years, a long time, but they made a pretty solid floor. I had to use some different hangers and some kind of wonky things to make it all work, but I'm an artist and I make art out of buildings. You're eating something too, right? You should be. That's how mukbangs are meant to be done. Oh my gosh. These pants are getting tight. I better unbutton them. Oh, there we go. So good. I made 2 boxes because I knew I was going to be hungry. You might not believe me when I say it, but I met Richard Simmons when I was 12 years old. And when I met Richard Simmons, I was in California Adventure, the Disney satellite park across the way there. And we were in Cars Land, my mom and I, and my mom elbows 12-year-old me and goes, "Hey, that's Richard Simmons over there. We gotta go talk to him." So she grabs me by the arm and drags me over to Richard Simmons. She starts chatting with him, says hi. And at the time, I didn't know who he was, obviously, and I was just eating some unwrapped Snickers out of a bag. So I'm eating my Snickers, and my mom is chatting with Richard Simmons. And he's being super friendly, saying hi to us. And then, very subtly, quickly, before I could even react, he reaches over and grabs a Snickers out of the Snickers bag, the unwrapped Snickers bags. There's a bag of unwrapped Snickers bites. And he reached in and he took the candy from my 12-year-old baby self. And my mom, rightfully so, pulls out her camera and she goes, "Busted!" And she snaps a photo of him in the act. And now Richard Simmons is dead. So he won't be able to deny that that happened. Not to mention the fact, I do have pics to prove that it did happen. I wouldn't lie about a Richard Simmons encounter. This macaroni and cheese is so good. I used the word parasocial several times in my last video, and I've decided I'm not going to use that word anymore. There's no such thing as parasocial, or maybe there is, but this right here, what we're doing, this isn't parasocial. This is just neo-social. This is a new way of socializing. It hasn't been around very long, maybe like a decade or so. The mukbang, food cast thing, whatever this is, it's only been around for like a few years. So, it's new, but it's social. You're having a meal with me. Sharing food is one of the most intimate things that humans can do, and here we are, doing it together. There's kind of a weird through line between Nikocado Avocado and Richard Simmons. It seems to me like both of them were fat and then got skinny. And after they got skinny, people started treating them a lot better. They were able to move through the world more easily, and literally so. That's just interesting to me. I understand it though, because the same thing kind of happened to me. I used to be a very chubby little kid. I don't know if you can tell in this picture of 12-year-old me next to Richard Simmons, but I really had some pudge going on. And when I lost a bunch of weight, people also treated me better. Even though I was basically the same person. Get out of here, moth. That moth isn't invited to this mukbang. It must be the case that I do, but I hope that I never ever treat someone better just because they get skinny. I hope that I'm able to treat people well, whether they're skinny or fat. But of course, having grown up Mormon, I know that fat people are treated worse than skinny people are. It's almost like a moral thing, like like someone can look at you, and if you're fat, they know that you're an immoral, small will-powered, weak-willed individual. Dismissible if you're fat. I hope that's not how I treat people. These videos are kind of a little bit meant to cater to the weighted blanket crowd, we'll say. And I know that this giant spoon is probably pissing a lot of you off, but what can I say? I'm a hungry boy. I slimmed up a little bit, but deep inside in my heart, I'm still that fat little chubby kid who noticed that he was treated a lot better once he lost the weight. I love food. It's one of my favorite things on earth. So good. The only time that I had a really negative relationship with food was when I was in a mental hospital. Well, I hope that moth in front of the camera lens isn't being too obnoxious. Sorry about that. I'm outdoors, what can I do? There's bugs. But yeah, when I was in the mental hospital for 2 weeks against my own will, the food there was bad. It was like the worst hotel continental breakfast meal for every single meal of the day. The first 7 days that I was there, I didn't take a single shit. And they had to give me some ultra heavy duty laxatives that in the end, after they took effect, made me take the most normal, innocuous shit of my life. A lot of times people will take a bunch of laxatives and then they'll be like, oh my gosh, it was a volcanic explosion. Nope, not for me. I took a high dose of magnesium citrate and passed an average, middle of the road, center of the bell curve bowel movement. Bad food. That was a bad food time of my life. But this is a good shit. I know my last video probably made it seem like this was going to be a very woodworking-centric channel, but apparently not. This right here is the closest I've got to like woodworking to show off today. And it's just a tree stump that I dug up out of the ground, a little root wad from a mesquite tree. It was over on the corner of this house, right where the foundation pier was going. So I had to cut it out, which was a little sad. You know, it's a beautiful ancient creature. And I didn't want to cut it out, but it was in my way, so I had to. I couldn't help but notice that the burps in my last video did not do well. People didn't like the burps. I'm not going to apologize for having a body and letting that body be a part of my video content. I could edit the burps out. Well, that's just not what I'm gonna do. Hell yeah. Comment what you're eating. I want to know what you're having right now, because this is a neo-social interaction. We're socializing right now, in a weird way, through a lens of sorts, but this is socialization. Maybe the only real parasocial interaction anywhere on Earth is the parasocial interaction between members of the faith and God. That feels pretty parasocial to me, because it's, you know, this is two-way right here. I say something to you, you comment something below, we're eating our food together. There's like a give and a take going on. But with God and church members, it's kind of a one-way thing, as far as I can tell. Or at least that was my experience. I'm an ex-Mormon now, so, you know, the Mormons are going to comment down below and be like, he's not really talking about the real God. He was never actually a Mormon, and yeah, maybe. But my family definitely is Mormon. I don't talk to my cousins on my dad's side of the family because my dad doesn't talk to his side of the family. But I do talk to the other half of my cousins. They're split pretty evenly between the two sides. And on my mom's side of the family, I have over 30 first cousins, which means that in total, I have like 60. And they're all Mormon. I'm one of the only ones who isn't Mormon. There's something about being a Mormon that makes you very good at performing. Because there's a right way to act, explicitly. And you must act that way. And if you don't, you will be punished. And I'm not talking in the next life or the one after that. I'm talking here and now. If you act incorrectly as a Mormon, you're punished. So I got pretty good at acting from a pretty young age. I spent a lot of time acting straight, that's for damn sure. So good. could just eat this forever. There's no such thing as too much with this mac and cheese. But I should wash it down with some water. That's the responsible thing to do. Oh yeah, good stuff. I'm not editing that out. I hope, but I'm not delusional enough to think that my cousins never ever see these videos. Oh well. This is kind of an impromptu thing. I mostly just wanted to use the word neo-social in a video, and I was trying to think of a good way to do that, and mukbangs are such a prime example of a neo-social interaction. So that's what this is. I don't know how I'm going to end this video. I don't really have like a conclusion or a point, but yeah, just want to hang out with you, you know? I'm starting to get full, but there's a lot more left in here, and I don't want to waste any food. I'll be honest, Nikocado Avocado makes this look so easy. It's kind of hard. He's like an impressive artist for doing what he does. I wonder if I'm gonna get fat too. Could happen. Who knows? Maybe people will start treating me worse again. I don't know. I'm committed to the bit. Don't worry. It's gonna keep going. Maybe there is such a thing as too much. I don't know. There were only a few times that I purposely made myself throw up when I was trying to get skinny, but it did happen. There was one very memorable moment that I ate 2 full boxes of mac and cheese and then went upstairs into my shower to take a shower. And I didn't really plan on throwing up, Then in the shower, I started feeling kind of chubby, a little overfull. And for some reason, rather than going and throwing up in the toilet, which I could have, I just threw up directly into the bottom of the shower. And then I had to smush a bunch of half-chewed macaroni noodles down the drain in order to hide the evidence of my eating disorder. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Everyone says, don't have an eating disorder. It's bad for you. Don't do it. But at the same time, if you give yourself an eating disorder, you lose a bunch of weight, and people treat you better, who's to decide if it was worth it? I don't know. I wonder if it's worse to be fat and treated poorly, or treated well because you're skinny, but secretly you have an eating disorder. I have an intuition which one of those is better, but I'm not gonna share that intuition with you guys. It's for you to decide. I just make the art. You watch it. Not a lot of woodworking in this one, I gotta admit. There's a lot of different ways to make yourself suffer. And I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have the intuition that the world wants to see me suffer. You could suffer by being overweight and being mistreated by everyone around you. Or you can suffer by starving or intentionally throwing up every time you eat. Lots of different ways to suffer. Maybe be nice to fat people. Let them love what they love.